gentlemen, welcome to Gander. For your safety and the safety of those passengers around you, we ask you please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened and all of your bags stowed until the captain has switched off the seatbelt sign. On behalf of Air Canada, member of Star Alliance, I'd like to thank you very much for choosing the services of Air Canada Express today.
My entire life, I've been fascinated with the Gander International Airport, and today I get to go on my own private tour. I am amazed. I've always wondered what this was all about. So this is the international terminal.
Welcome to what I like to call no man's land. The reason I call it no man's land, if there was an international flight on the ground right now, I would not be able to do this because it's only people that cleared and working that particular flight is allowed to be here at that given time.
Wow.
Okay, the blue and the gray seating is all from the late 50s, early 60s. Right here is our sculpture called the Birds of Welcome.
Yes.
Mr. Harker Price done them and was commissioned by the lead architect for the building at that time, and he done them in 1958. They say you rub the heads of the birds, you might get lucky and win the lottery if you're a gambler.
Yes, yes.
Or woman,
yes.
Depending on that. But without further ado, we're going to go to the ladies' washroom now, and we will tell you why when we get there.
The famous ladies' washroom.
The famous.
I know why it's famous.
Ah.
I know why it's famous.
After watching.
And I know why you're famous. Gary, right? Did you say it was Gary?
Jerry.
Jerry, I know why it's famous. You made it famous.
No. The lady that made her presence here. I'm just an ordinary Newfoundland. Mail guard! No response. Right here is why I bring small tours. The mirror, countertop, and 5 of the 6 chairs is all original from that time period. The last one broke and we could not get the replica. And now you can say you were in the washroom that the Queen was in on June the 19th, 1959 when she came for the grand opening of the terminal. And we're assuming she utilized one of these 2. That way her entourage could work from both sides and on the back without having to go in front of the young lady. Well,
now, Jerry, can I sit in one of those chairs?
Yes, my friend.
This chair or this chair? One of these chairs for sure?
One of them chairs for sure.
Jerry says the Queen sat here. The Queen sat in one of these chairs. That's totally awesome.
At that time, we fed the children in a separate room, which was here, that they breastfed, bottle fed, whatever the case may be. We're waiting for the wallpaper to peel down so we can scan it and either replace it or put it in a frame that we can preserve for other future tours. There is a shower in this washroom as well as in the men's.
Wow, that's all original wallpaper.
All original wallpaper.
And that's would be the
washroom,
private washroom.
The toilet and the
wow.
Yeah, there is like I said, a shower down there. Everything is.
Is this would this be a first class lounge then, or?
This is.
Or was just a lounge available to anybody?
A lounge was available to anybody
at
that time.
So back then it was accustomed to have showers and all this stuff.
Yeah, there's shower in the men's as well. The only difference between the men's and here is that we haven't got that or that.
Right.
And we got urinals.
Yes. That's awesome.
All the time.
I can't wait to see the second original escalator in Newfoundland. I don't know if I buy your story, Jerry.
What?
Jerry has a story about this escalator over here. He claims, you know what, I'm going to let you listen to Jerry's story, okay? We'll see what Jerry has to say after.
Actually, this is a picture of the Arrowhead disaster that happened on December 12th, 1985. They were utilizing runway 2103. They got up over the fencing and the highway and went aground way back there by the tree line. and came to rest where they later placed a statue. All 256, passengers passed away, passengers and crew. They were a UN peacekeeping force from the States, actually from Fort Campbell, on their way back home.
I'm well aware.
Without further ado, we'll go up the steps here, and you're going to see more furniture, orange, yellow, and black furniture, all from the day, back in the 50s and early 60s.
This is awesome. This is so incredible. I'm like an aviation buff. I love aviation, everything airplanes and airports.
The clock says London, Montreal, New York, Moscow, and of course Gander. Before I get any further, this is considered the first escalator in Newfoundland and Labrador. Although
he's going to tell you a lie. He's a Newfoundlander now. He's going to tell you a lie for sure.
The old Woolworths building in St. John says they had the first one, but they're gone. So we claimed rights when they were around, but we still got proof in the pudding, and we're still saying we were the first.
Jerry, from one Newfoundlander to another, I'll tell you, I believe you, buddy.
Right behind me is a 72.5-foot mural. There was a competition held between 5 artists. Mr. Kenneth Lockhead, who was born in Ottawa, won the competition. He came here in February and put up his placards and began his day's painting. He got up on the step ladder. It is all egg tempered. He utilized over 3,000 eggs to egg temper the painting. It has never been touched up or updated since it's been there. He originally painted from left to right, referenced the young lady with the wheat in her arms. She's going to pass it to the gentleman with his arm extended, who would lower it to the gentleman that is in front of him to put on the planes to go to faraway places. The young man there with the bobby hat on and the binoculars will keep an eye on you wherever you go in this room, whether it's down there on the floor, up here on the mezzanine, over there on that mezzanine. He's got his eye on you, especially the ladies, I heard. So gotta keep an eye on.
Is his name Jerry?
No, his name not Jerry. Reference the flowers in the Cape-like flag there. That is all the provincial flowers of Canada and the territories. The young man juggling the apples, that is in essence how air traffic control would have to juggle all the flights in that overhead. Now he utilized birds instead of planes because he figured planes would evolve over history. But these two big birds here look a bit like the modern day Concorde. The Concorde did its test flying here between 72 and 74 because of noise restrictions in Ontario, in Toronto precisely, and New York City itself at that given time. Now, Mr. Lockhead never signed the mural. What he done was painted himself into the mural. Reference the young lady with the berries in her hand. You go up, there's a blue bird in a nest of 2 eggs. Come back down, there's a gentleman with his face half hidden. He looks like a bit like Brian Maroon.
Yes, tanned complexion, right?
Into politics,
yes.
With his hair one side,
yeah.
Pointy nose, stunt, pointy chin.
Yes.
Well, that's Mr. Lockhead, the artist himself. He painted himself in instead of signing it. Now, the matron is basically a grounds handler, bringing the flight into the final parking place. Now the couple on the end can be you and your significant other, whatever the case may be, just waiting for family or friends to come and visit and join you to see around the sights and sounds of Newfoundland and Labrador. On 9/11, we had 38 aircraft here, 6,600 people. The reference at the tunnel, the glass hallway there that we walked through partially, that wasn't there till after 9/11. Previous to that, that kiosk was another 25 feet to the right, 25, 30 feet. Then you had a little hallway, then you had our office, then you had this RCMP search rooms, and then you had screening. So screening was only 1/3 the size you see it now. If you follow me over here, as we look out across the field, reference where that Gander Aviation Terminal is, that's considered apron 3. On 9/11, our first aircraft was a 747 parked here in the right-hand corner as we look out across the field. They circled the circumference of the terminal building, down taxiway Alpha, which is an extremely long taxiway that connects with Foxtrot, and we had a plane on Foxtrot as well. Apron 3 was filled up. We have another extremely long taxiway immediate to my left. That was filled up as well. And in the holding bay was a couple of more aircraft waiting. That way when the air traffic was allowed to go back up, they could start shooting them back in the sky from whichever direction that the winds favored them going back up. Now the bus drivers were on strike. They came off strike and helped us. They bused the passengers into the terminal building. Now once the hotels and all that was filled up, they had the schools and that shut down at this time as well. You had the various churches set up and the volunteers and that all down there. The military came online, the RCMP online, and they all started the process. Customs was in meetings in St. John's. They had to cancel out their meetings and have a drive of 3.5 hours to get back to start clearing these people. There was people that stayed at the schools and got talking to the volunteers, and they'd say, well, I get off now in a couple of minutes, come home with us, have something to eat, wash your clothes. You can stay with us if you want, or you can come back, and when the skies open up and your flight is ready to go, we'll get you back and appropriately on your way. There's 3 pieces of steel here in Gander. There's one down at the Aviation Museum. There's another one. The second piece is in the town of Appleton. The 3rd piece was delivered on 2016. And what happened there was roughly 12 or 14 police officers from New York City left with the piece of steel in tow and the 454 motorcycle. Okay, they got on the tour and picked up other motorcyclists along the way. When they got off in the boat in Port aux Basques, other people met them. Eventually they come across, but also in the group was our manager of safety and security, Brian Hicks, our VP of operations, Mr. Darren Dalton, who is Boat Havoc Bikers. At the end of the day, they all ended up at our main gate. We had the fire truck standing by. They opened up the gate, they called for clearance, red 1, ground, permission, Bravo, on the runway 1331, returns on the runway 2103, taxiway Foxtrot Alpha to the apron. All 70 bikes lined up here, did a photo op of Welcome to Gander. They come in with the 454 bike and under the Newfoundland flag and the piece of steel and under the American flag. They did their speeches and spiels and passed a piece of steel and that along to the airport here. We had a little bit of a yarn. We loaded them back aboard the bikes. This time we took the shortcut around the building, across the apron, out to the gate, gave them a love tap and sent them on their way. But before we end this tour, I'd like to take you into a place to show you just how good we take care of crews, cockpit crews, when they come here. Gander did not exist until 1936, when they broke ground for the airport terminal building here. So Gander is quite a young community, considering how old Newfoundland and Labrador is as a colony. So in one sense, Gander will always be a baby compared to Newfoundland itself. right in here is the crew lounge. As you can see, we take care of the crews pretty good.
This room is still active, still used?
Oh, yes,
Yep.
still in use.
Wow.
Here's where they broke ground in 1936. They were also putting a railway through at that same given time, just over to my immediate right. So the crews here stayed in the bunkhouses with the railway workers. This is the first admin building in 38, and this is the building you're in today with various changes, of course, along the way. Because they had no more than building, they were renovating.
Wow.
But as you can see, a 60-inch TV there, recliners, various rock games and stuff like that. Military cockpit crews get a pizza on behalf of the airport. There's 2 bedrooms here, a massage chair down there. Right here is the world famous photo on in, a 60-inch TV there. But right there is why I like bringing small tours here. This is the Ferry Command in 1943. Actually, come this June, it'll be 7 years that a lady was here. Her 3 daughters brought her here. She was here in June, and she was stationed in 1943 when all this was going on. She sat there, we were here almost 2 hours. She telling the stories about the Ferry Command.
Gary, I'm not familiar with what the Ferry Command is. What is the Ferry Command?
Actually, it was where they were trying to find a place to bring aircraft to aid in the war.
Right.
Because the ships and that they were carrying them on were getting torpedoed, and they were losing so many. And on the ships, they couldn't fix the wings and that.
Right.
But if they could find a way to fly it, way to go.
So this, I get it now. This makes sense for the Ferry Command. They would keep all the aircraft here and ferry them back and forth across as needed.
Exactly.
Right.
This
was World War II.
Yeah.
World War II. Gander International Airport was like the hotspot. It was the main airport, right?
Yeah.
The history here is just incredible. It's absolutely insane. But just 20 minutes with Jerry here, the amount I've learned is crazy. It's insane.
On November the 7th, 7 aircraft left, and they all made it across to England. And after that, they started sending more. On a per capita, 75% made it across, which was a lot better statistics than when they were putting them on the various vessels.
Right.
That is the extent of your tour, my friend. So
now, where do I buy executive lounge pass so I can hang out here? My flight leaves in an hour. I still have time to get in one of those beds or the massage chair.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Well, I'll have a quick look. This is gorgeous. And this is exclusive for cockpit crews, international cockpit crews.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, not only the cockpit crews, the stewardess and that. Mostly the cockpit crews is military flights.
Right.
So.
That's wonderful. Jerry, I've been in this airport countless times. I've been up to the observation deck, I've walked down these hallways, and I always wondered what was in here. And I used to see you in here sometimes with people, but I thought they were just special guests, but I'm a special guest.
Anyone in Newfoundland is a special guest. Pardon the pudding, but we're all tired with the same brush.
He's a gentleman. Jerry, thank you so much for the tour. I'm going to put this up on YouTube for people to watch, and I'll link it to you. Thank you for watching, guys. This is something else to see. It's pristine. It's gorgeous. Thanks to Jerry. The people of Newfoundland are just top-notch. Peace.